right, we are now 8 minutes into hour number 3. We've got Paul Watson joining us via video Skype connection. Audio for radio listeners, visually for PrisonPlanet.tv members in the first 30 minutes of the next hour. Then Charlie Skelton, who writes for the Evening Standard and the London Guardian, reporter in Spain for Bilderberg 2010. Giving us a first report on the closing of the resort and hotel today and the top globalist arriving. Before we go any further, the film Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined is our newest documentary that we have produced. Jason Bermas is the director, and for the first time ever, the secret agenda of the planet's ruthless superclass is exposed. In stark detail, this documentary film chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government. Learn how this global oligarchy controls the populace through drug trafficking, money laundering, staged terror attacks, media propaganda, and debt. The criminal controllers have successfully dominated the globe and are now in their final phase of consolidating power. Government narcotics trafficking, white slavery rings, the pervert guilds, how they control people in Congress, how different globalist organizations tie together. 2 hours, 24 minutes with extensive extras. It's got, of course, G. Edward Griffin. It's got Peter Dale Scott and many, many others in the film, and I consulted on it. Very important documentary, and your purchase of the books, the videos, the T-shirts, the material, you are what makes this show possible. So not only is this a great tool to wake up your friends and family and also to inform you to a higher level, it also funds our operation. Of course, for people that want to understand the banking collapse that's happening, how the globalists are doing it, how they're behind it, Fall of the Republic. For folks that want to know how to take the states back and the difference between the democracy and a republic and the move to have sheriffs elected that'll say no to the feds. This should be given to every sheriff you know. The DVD is available at Infowars.com. Don't Tread on Me, Rise of the Republic, and of course I'm in it. Back in print after 20 years being out of print, The Secret Team by L. Fletcher Prouty. How the top banks ran the communist and the U.S. He was the head of Black Ops for the Pentagon, CIA liaison. This is the book the CIA doesn't want you to read, available at Infowars.com. If you want to understand the police-state control grid and have all the intel on what's being set up in the United States, the latest film that I directed with Rob Dew and Jason Douglas, Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. It covers it all. Again, available at Infowars.com. or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Now, I want to thank everyone that has been supporting us, buying the books and videos. More importantly, though, if you own the books and videos, give them to people. Make copies of my films. Get them out. Air them on Access TV. Show them to your church. People are ready to be awakened right now. And I also want to thank folks that have supported us in other ways, spreading the word about the radio show on your local AM and FM, or satellite, or shortwave, or the web, or the free iPhone app on Infowars.com, or donating, or supporting our sponsors, both national and local. Thank you for making this show one of the fastest growing radio programs in the world and the #1 alternative radio show on the planet. We have the #1 and #2, respectively, biggest alternative news websites according to Alexa.com and other major statistical algorithms out there on the web, Google Analytics, and we are doubling our web presence every year. So very, very exciting. Again, thank you for joining us. Okay, without further ado, I just want to point out you made it possible, folks, and I commend you, and we're trying to go to the next level, and we can do it with your support. Dr. John Coleman, Coleman300.com is the website. His 35 years of investigative study of 37,000 pages of the annals of Congress, the Congressional Globe, and the congressional records has given Dr. Coleman a unique, in-depth understanding of the layer upon layer of complexities which go to make up the United States Constitution. Very few, if any, constitutional scholars can claim such a unique distinction. And he also is the big researcher on the Committee of 300, political science, economist, Dr. Coleman, on location, hands-on experience in the field of different countries, makes him a writer, scholar, and lecturer of distinction. The Committee of 300, The Vanishing Middle Class, Apocalypse Waiting to Happen, Obama's America, Beyond the Conspiracy, and many more. Check out his books and more at Coleman 300 and his other materials at Coleman300.com. Dr. Coleman, great to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, in the 46 minutes we've got left now, time is flying, you've got the floor. What is the Committee of 300? What is the world government? And where is it taking us?
The Committee of 300 is the world government. It's one of your previous programs. There's a gentleman asking about the New World Order. How is it run? Well, it's run through the Committee of 300. They were also known as the Olympians in the early days, and men spoke about them under their breath for fear of them. This is a massive organization which in the beginning was run mainly by the royalty in Europe, but now, of course, it's spread all over the world. The American Eastern Liberal establishment was allowed in to join it, and several of the other countries came in as lower echelon members. And this committee was begun actually by the drug trade with China. That's where they've amassed their fortunes, and that's where they got their beginning. But of course, they've gone from that to every level of society, every facet of our civilization. And they are people who introduce population control and a wide variety of devices to keep control of everything that's happening. Now, you can say that this is like a huge corporation where you have the CEO at the head, you have his staff consisting of the senior managers, then you have the lower echelon managers, and then you have the subscribers, shareholders. And that's basically what this organization is like. It is a worldwide control body with enormous powers because it's invaded every government on the planet. There's not a single government, maybe with the exception of China, and latterly Russia, since the demise of their previous president, and with the coming of Putin, of course, things changed in Russia. And this gives you some idea of the breadth and the depth and the reach of this organization.
And by the way, you're a political scientist and economist, and I've read your work for more than 15 years, so I vouch for what you're saying, but perhaps you should give people a few dates, because you went and got source documents from the Office of Naval Intelligence, from retired admirals, from retired commander of the Office of Naval Intelligence, from government documents, and explain when it got its name, Committee of 300, and how it nexuses in with the Bilderberg Group, with the Round Table, Royal Institute of International Affairs in England, with the CFR in the United States, how these other globalist groups tie in to the Committee of 300.
Well, these organizations that you mentioned, like the Bilderbergers and the Council on Foreign Relations, these are mere cogs in the big machinery. They're not the preeminent bodies that we have to deal with. They are cogs in this giant organization called the Committee of 300. And they took this name from a family of 300 very powerful merchants and living in England. And it began with a charter from the Queen to give them the right to go and invade countries and make war against them. And it, of course, was based on the Chinese opium trade. They had a huge treasury of money gained from the Chinese opium trade. They even got a charter from the British government to go to war against China. That gives you some idea of the power of these people. It's like a private organization that really is the government of the world.
And, of course, even MSNBC admits that in 1832, this same committee of opium merchants, British, Dutch East India, that had merged hundreds of years before, set up just Skull and Bones to take over the elite of the United States. So this is really the oldest continually operating private intelligence operation.
Absolutely, and they co-opted the best available brains in the world at that time, and all the old liberal Eastern liberal establishment families, like John Handyside Perkins and so on, they were all co-opted into this committee. And today the CFR takes its orders from the Royal Institute of International Affairs in Chatham House in London. That's a daily affair. The orders are relayed through one of the brokerage houses. I don't want to name them in case they pass suit against me, but they are the ones who convey the message to the Secretary of State, and then it becomes government policy. In foreign policy, monetary policies, in fact, very little that is enacted is not originally from the Royal Institute of International Affairs, which is the international arm of the Committee of 300.
It's amazing. And, of course, they use the drug war as a way to break up China, and they're doing the same thing today here. They make the drugs illegal and then take over all the criminal networks and mass all the secret wealth through the drug war.
Exactly. That's, as I said, that's how they acquired their massive treasury, their amazing amount of wealth. The wealth that those people have made David Rockefeller look like a piker. Give you some idea of how wealthy they are.
And he's just one of their agents here in the U.S., correct?
That's correct. Oh, yes. And, of course, I also believe that there are a few others in the U.S. agents as well.
Herr Kissinger and Brzezinski are above them.